You know, from the deepest parts of the ocean all the way to our biggest movie screens, there's this one creature that has captured our imagination like nothing else, the mermaid. It's one of those myths that's just stuck around forever, a symbol of both incredible beauty and sometimes serious danger. So, where did this story even come from, and why are we still so obsessed with it?
So what's the deal with this half-human, half-fish being? What is it that holds our attention so tightly? Is it just some old fairy tale we tell our kids? Or just maybe, could there be a little bit of truth hidden somewhere beneath the waves? That's the mystery we're going to dive into.
Okay, so first things first, let's get on the same page. A mermaid, according to the legend, is an aquatic creature with the top half of a human and the bottom half of a fish. The guy version is a merman, and together you've got merfolk. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, as you're about to see, the story gets way, way deeper from here.
To really get our heads around the mermaid myth, we've got to jump in our time machine and go way back. And I'm not talking a few hundred years, I mean thousands. So our first stop is the ancient world, where these stories first started bubbling to the surface. I mean, just look how far back this idea goes. As early as 1000 BC, you've got Syrian stories about the goddess Otter Goddess, who turned herself into a half-fish being. In Mesopotamia, there was the fishman god Oannes, who was said to bring wisdom up from the sea. And of course, in ancient Greece, the oceans were just teeming with powerful tritons and graceful sea nymphs called Nereids. So the big takeaway here is that this isn't some modern fantasy. It's a concept that's basically as old as civilization itself. And get this, it wasn't just a Mediterranean thing. The idea of merfolk popped up independently all over the globe, in cultures that had little, if any, contact with each other. I mean, how wild is that? So for example, if you pop over to Ireland, you have the Murrow, who needed a special magic cap to go from sea to land. Up in Scotland, the seas might grant you 3 wishes or even marry a human. And then halfway across the world in the Philippines, you've got the Sirena, known for their enchanting and often pretty deadly voices. Every culture put its own unique spin on the legend. So yeah, it's pretty clear that merfolk were never just one thing. They could be helpful partners, dangerous temptresses, or just symbols of the wild, untamable sea itself. Their stories really mirrored our own complicated relationship with the ocean, a place that gives life but can also be incredibly dangerous. But here's the thing. For a lot of people, these weren't just campfire stories. For centuries, people, we're talking seasoned sailors and famous explorers, claim to have actually seen them. Which brings us to the so-called eyewitness evidence. I mean, check this out. This is a real entry from the logbook of Christopher Columbus himself. In 1493, he wrote that he saw 3 mermaids, but listen closely to how he describes them. Not as beautiful as they are painted. He wasn't describing some perfect fantasy creature. He was documenting what he truly believed was a real, if maybe a little disappointing, living animal. So you gotta ask, right? If a super experienced explorer like Columbus was totally convinced he saw mermaids, what was really out there in the water? What could possibly create that kind of illusion for someone who spent their life at sea? Okay, so meet our prime suspect. On the left, you've got the myth, the human-like face, the long fish tail. On the right, you've got the reality, a marine mammal like a manatee. Now imagine you're a tired sailor, you've been at sea for months, and you see one of these things surface from a distance. With its rounded body and that tail fluke, you can see how it could easily be mistaken for something human-like. And remember what Columbus said, something of a human face? Well, suddenly it all starts to click, doesn't it? All right, so let's connect the dots here. We've traced the myth back to ancient times, we've identified the likely culprits behind all those sightings, so now what's the final scientific verdict? And maybe more importantly, why does this story still have such a powerful hold on us? Scientifically speaking, the verdict is, well, it's crystal clear. There is zilch biological evidence that mermaids, as we imagine them, exist or have ever existed. No fossils, no specimens, nothing. Every single supposed sighting can be explained away by misidentifying animals, weird natural phenomena, and of course, the incredibly powerful force of human imagination. So if they're not real, how come they feel more popular than ever? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is this guy, Hans Christian Andersen. His 1837 fairy tale, The Little Mermaid, completely changed the game. It introduced these powerful new ideas of love, sacrifice, and this deep, deep longing to be part of the human world. It created the romantic, tragic figure that most of us think of today. And then, of course, Hollywood got a hold of that image and put it on steroids. From movies like Splash all the way to Disney's iconic animated classic, the mermaid became this permanent fixture in pop culture. She was cemented in our collective imagination for generations to come. Which brings us back to one final and, I think, really fascinating question. We know they're not real, so why on earth do we keep telling their stories? Maybe it's because mermaids represent the ultimate mystery. They're like a bridge between our world, the one we know, and the vast, unknown secrets of the deep ocean. They kind of embody our dreams of transformation, of freedom, and that's a story we might just never stop telling.